Alrighty, this will be a bit of a maintenance video. I don't have any problems with the bike, but I've never really liked the feel on the clutch plates on these NC250s. It's not bad, they work, the plates they're totally gonna last. Like, I have 7,000 miles basically on that bike and it's the same clutch plates. It's just fine. But I found some Barnett Kevlar plates and I would like to test them out and see how they feel. And they also had some I'm going to use all of them. I think I'm going to do 3 heavy duty and 3 standard springs in there just to give it a little more grabbing power. It'll make it a little heavier. So yeah, this is my first time doing this myself. Closest I've gotten to this is I lean the bike over and put this cover on, which requires taking out every bolt and doing that, but should be pretty easy. Just got to take this cover off for my clutch. Then I have my 6 spring-loaded clutch bolts. Pull those out. Plates should come out nice and easy. I can see how things look. They should look pretty new because this bike only has about 1,000 miles on it. And yeah, put the new plates in and hopefully I do it right because I'd like to go riding this weekend. So yeah, let's when we get to it, open this. First I'm going to lean the bike over on my bike stand over there. That way I don't have to drain my oil out because I just changed the oil like 3-4 weeks ago. So yeah, let me get it leaned over and get this main cover off. See what we got under there. And there we have our clutch. So 6 normal bolts. We'll check our basket when we're in here. Just to note, when I took this clutch cover off, did check each one of these bolts and they all look identical. Like, I know on some bikes you might have a slightly longer or shorter bolt on some of these areas, but these all look the same, so you should be interchangeable from what I see. Yeah, should just be taking these bolts out, taking this pressure plate off, and pulling my clutch back out. That should be pretty darn easy here. One other thing I noticed, if I can get that on there, this is the inside of my NC300 clutch cover. So that says NC450. So I think we use identical clutch covers between the 300 and the 450, which I assume means possibly identical clutch packs. I actually don't have a clutch holding tool for this, so I just took a block of wood and kind of shimmed it up there while loosening those. Those aren't really tight bolts. They're only like 8 or 9 foot-pounds. So we got them off, but here are my clutch plates. And before I get into the clutch plates, let's go over here. So outer part of the hub and my springs, and like I said, I think I'm going to alternate these springs and switch them over to the Barnett heavy duty while we're over here. So that just says lied. So yeah, I'm just checking the parts because if I see any more like that, like the engine cover, let's say NC450 on it, I take note of those things. Like the throttle cable for this bike also says NC450. So yeah, I got to put the camera down to pull those plates out, but we'll pull them out along with our steel plates and just kind of see what they look like. But first glance, I mean, that looks like a really normal clutch plate. And there's the steel plate. It's no bluing at all. But yeah, everything looks as new as it should, which is good so far. I mean, I'll get the rest out here in a second. But really my plan with this, because I really just wanted to try this Barnett clutch, is I'm probably going to take this clutch out and throw it in that bike, because that bike, like I said, clutch has got like 7,000 miles on it. So I'm curious when I pull that one out if it looks like this. Like that looks good, normal. Looks almost new basically. And the clutch is out. So the hardest part of that is just fishing it out with picks, because it's laying on the side and everything wants to stay in there. But you have your little bearing right here, pressure plate, so do be careful of that stuff if you're not removing your basket. But if I look at my basket, nothing looks abnormal. I mean, I can see where the plates are hitting it, but if I run my finger along these are all smooth. Same with the basket here. I can see it there where the plates have been hitting, but everything looks smooth. No reason to worry about that. And there definitely shouldn't be, because, you know, only 1,000 miles on this bike. Should look pretty great in here. So we go over here, check these plates out. Let's see. Does that sort of work? That sort of works. So the clutch pack looks really good. One thing I noticed is a lot of times with these metal plates, they'll have something different on each side. These ones, I don't see it. It's a dotted side on one side, dotted side on the other side. As far as my clutch plates, they'll look just fine. Nothing weird that I see going through these. None of my metal plates nothing looks like it's been heated up too much or anything like that. And I've definitely been riding the bike on hot days, banging away at the clutch. I mean, I'm not racing my bikes, but yeah. And if we count here, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, wait. 1, 2, 3. Okay, whew. For some reason I couldn't count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 fiber plates, 5 steel plates in here. And I'm going to reuse my steel plates for the new clutch. So now it's time we'll separate these out of here. Since my steel plates, like I said, they look identical on each side. Like this side was out before, like facing out on the bike. This side was in, but I cannot see any difference between them. They look entirely identical. So yeah, I've been soaking my Barnett plates for a while. So let's start packing this back in here and use these same steel plates that look perfectly fine. And I should probably do this before I even look at putting these Barnett plates in here. This is also a nice way to show the difference in plates here. Try to clean off some of the oil. We'll dip it in oil again. So Barnett plate and OEM side by side. And what I wanted to do here is just match these up and ensure that I am looking like these are identical all the way around. Yes, sir, Bob. Awesome. Because honestly, I bought these plates for an RX3, and an RX3 uses the single overhead cam NC250. And when I bought these plates, I did not know that single and double were truly the same. I assumed they were, but this is kind of a learning experience for me here as well. Okay, well, I'm trying to put in my springs. I started with an OEM spring. I was going to put in one of these HD springs, but they're actually a different inner diameter. So it's like when you put it on here, it's not wanting to go down all the way. Like it's sticking up. And I'm sure I could jam it down all the way, but then that spring is going to be a pain in the ass to get back off. Like here's a standard like OEM spring. See how it just slides on and off easy? This one, like if I actually push this down, it's going to get stuck on there where I'm going to have to pry it back out. So not going to use the HD springs at all. We're going to keep them off on the side, and who knows, maybe at some point we'll play with them and try them, but to me, waste of money. Shouldn't have bought those. Learned my lesson. And we got our new clutch back in, just because I'm sure someone is curious. With these clutch bolts, I only tighten these down to 8 foot-pounds. I assume the torque spec is somewhere between 7 and 9. I was going to stop at 7.5, and then 8 felt like a good number. Usually these are less than 10 down here. It's 7 to 9 is what those are set to. So that's the only thing I've torqued down on here, because the only other screws that I've taken out are my cover screws. And with those, I just kind of hand tighten a little extra, which is probably like 5 foot-pounds or 8 foot-pounds. I'm not as concerned about it as with the clutch pack, but that should be it. Get my clutch cover back on, take my bungee cord off, start the bike up, and see if my clutch works. I don't know. It's been a while since I've changed clutch. And we are done. I think I forgot to mention, but good rule of thumb when you have covered with bolts around or the pressure plate with the 6 bolts around is tightening your crisscross patterns. That part probably took me the longest, torquing down those spring bolts, because I would do a few turns on the top. Like, I tighten them all down the same amount going crisscross, and then when I go torque it down, I torque it down the same amount going crisscross. And I usually don't torque it all the way up to the main setting. I'll torque it like up to 6 pounds, go 6 pounds all the way around, then 7 pounds, then up to 8 pounds. I don't know. It's just something I do. But I don't have problems with these bolts breaking off. I actually haven't really heard problems on the engine bolts, but somebody mentioned something with the clutch spring bolts, and they were like, don't over tighten them. So I want to be careful with that, but I didn't have any issues going up to 8 foot-pounds. So yeah, let's get her upright, clean up my stuff, and see if it starts and shifts into gear and rolls. All right, we got the moment of truth. See if the bike starts, and I don't go anywhere. Ooh, well, that's interesting. I should have checked that. I gotta change my clutch slack. Gotta basically adjust it down here, and then I'll move up to my handlebars and get it right. Real quick on adjusting the brake lever, or the clutch slack. So you start out down at your clutch arm, and you tighten it up down here. And then I have an adjust on the fly clutch lever. So what I do is I put that back and then push it out, I don't know, 5 or 6 clicks. So I got 5 clicks out, and then the rest of the way out that I can go. Or if I wanted to, I can bring this back in and loosen it up or tighten it. So with it a few clicks out already, I kind of set my clutch slack the way I like it, because I know when it heats up, I'm gonna have to tighten it up. And from right here, this is a little bit floppy, but I can adjust this really easy and make it tight. Like, that's not a big problem. So now I got the clutch good. Let's put my tools away and start it up. And I think we are hopefully done. So I readjusted my clutch down here. I actually had to move this way back. Like, it was kind of in the middle before, and I moved my adjuster way back with these new plates. It must be a different width or something. So, start her up. Step is to take it out and ride this girl.